Gentlemen, welcome to the Ango Show. We are live. It is January 29th, 2025. My name is Ango, and of course, I'm joined by Billy TKO. We're going to talk NXT. We're going to talk some wrestling stuff. A lot of things happening in the wrestling world. Obviously, the Royal Rumbles this weekend. Obviously, WWE NXT continues to really just kill it with the women's division. So, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about that. A lot of things to get started with. We have our super chat goal already put into the chat. So if you guys are watching us live on YouTube, we're live on multiple platforms. My
Yep.
channel, Billy's channel. We are live on Twitch and Twitter and TikTok and all that good stuff. We have a super chat goal of 5. So a little bit easier of a goal than yesterday. If you guys want to support the channel, the best way to do that is with the super chat because that guarantees that your questions or comments will get read. Obviously, me and Billy will debate a little bit about the topic that you guys give us. Super chats go 100% back into the channel, which obviously, as you guys know, WWE 2K25 was recently announced, and this year it looks like it's a game changer. We'll see if that's actually true, but with super chats and stuff like that, that goes into help helping the channel and paying for the software to stream and reinvested back into the show and the content and we'll see what happens there. If you guys don't want to drop a super chat, but you guys still want to support the channel, you could become a member. Members will always get higher priority in the chat. So shout out to guys like Laws, Justin Kennington, and Kevin Schiffman, who are in the chat right now. Just a couple of the members. We have almost 100 members on the channel. So when you become a member, you get exclusive emotes, badges. We also have a VIP server in Discord where we just shoot the shit and bullshit. So if you guys are interested, you could become a member. It starts at $1.99 a month. And then, of course, really the easiest way is to just simply like the stream. If you guys are watching on Twitch, you have the ability to do an Amazon Prime sub. If you're watching on X, you have the ability to just click the donate icon on the screen. Right here, my friends, we have a QR code. So if you guys want to support the show, maybe you don't want to drop a super chat, but you want to do it this way, definitely appreciated. YouTube always takes a cut out of the super chats. These donations, these QR codes that you scan here immediately, they essentially go directly to the Ango Show. And I think it's a significantly less cut that YouTube takes. So if you guys want to support the show, feel free to do so. And then, of course, we mentioned yesterday there is a push for merch, and we got the merchandise out there. We got the original OG zip up hoodie. We got the Ango 316 shirt. We got the Ango Club tee and the hoodie. Obviously, it's cold out. It's winter, so if you guys want to get some merch, you'll get a personalized thank you video as well. Hopefully we're done with the shout outs. Hopefully I try not to I try not to just go on and on with plugging things, but of course, we're building something special on the Ango Show. So if you guys want to support, that's the way to do it. And what a way to kick things off. Our good friend Tolino Channel starting things off with 100 rupee super chat. Guys, the thing about super chats too, I saw somebody made a comment about this. The thing about super chats, it doesn't really matter the amount. For it, it's just the fact that you guys do it. It gives you priority. We engage and we discuss. So, Tolino Channel's been coming through a lot recently, and Tolino Channel drops a super chat saying NXT Men's Division is starting to build because there is a monster champ in the building. Oba can destroy them in the ring and on the mic. Obviously, last night on NXT, we did we did see something very interesting, which was we had the Grayson Waller effect with Oba Femi.
Yep.
We got Wesley versus Trick Williams, which I have my own point of view on Trick Williams. It's even part of the title, the fact that he's evolving, which is great. But I do think the men's division is still a little bit lackluster.
For sure.
It is building up a little bit, but personally speaking, I still think the women are the star of the show on WWE NXT, and I think it's really important that people understand the idea that NXT is going to have to build up their men's division. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just not. It's going to require some signings. It's going to require some good booking to build up potential, people to take the belt off Obafemi. But I will say this: Oba is incredibly gifted in the ring. He's good on the mic. He's got a really special aura that surrounds him. Um, I mean, Billy, the way I kind of look at this, unfortunately, is that Obafemi being the world champion might actually be a detriment to the NXT brand, uh,
Mhm.
just largely due to the fact that, well, I don't think that anybody's really positioned to beat him.
Yeah, I mean, right now there really is nobody. I mean, when you look at that men's roster, you have to ask yourself, like, okay, who is somebody that could? And with the title, Trick Williams evolving and stuff like that. I agree. Actually, I seen a more serious Trick Williams last night. You could see while he was backstage walking out during the Grayson Waller effect, you seen his face a little bit, and you just seen how you seen him develop and you seen it on his face. So I don't know. I obviously you can't go back to Trick with the belt. So you give Oba the title, and now you're in this position where okay, now Trick is evolving and he looks good, but we just slapped the title on Oba and Oba's gonna have this run. And still with Trick evolving, it doesn't necessarily matter because I still wouldn't believe that Trick could beat Oba currently in this position, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. I think they have a problem where there's nobody who is credible enough to beat him.
Yeah,
Um, and it's interesting because for the longest time, NXT has always had a really good um they've done a really good job of having like a really strong main event scene. If you
for
go
sure,
back
for sure.
if you go back in the early days of NXT when Seth Rollins was world champ, and then when eventually obviously Shinsuke Nakamura became NXT champion, and you got Samoa Joe and all these guys in NXT. Like they've always had like a really strong main event scene for the men. I think you could even make that argument when they had gone 2019, 2020 with Adam Cole and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
But even like NXT 2.0 with Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker. And right now, I don't think the main event scene is that strong, which is it's hard. It's hard for me to be invested. I watched NXT last night, and I enjoyed the episode,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed the stuff with Wesley and Trick Williams a lot, and I
Yeah.
was very
Yeah.
happy to see what they did there. But to me, it's like it's just not. They don't have somebody that speaks to me immediately, directly, saying
Yeah,
this is
there's nobody that you could fully get invested in right now. And I
to
think
beat.
that
For me, it's not. It's. Let me correct
yeah,
you from
yeah,
my point
yeah.
of view.
Yes.
I agree that in that aspect, but I
It's
can't get invested into anybody that's gonna be credible enough to beat Obafemi.
yes, yes, and that's really what I'm trying to say here is that it's hard to get invested into somebody and thinking like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be the guy that's gonna beat him." Everything just seems very, very predictable when it comes to Obafemi. Even with the match that they made, coming up at Vengeance Day between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, that just seems like a match to tell a story more for Grayson Waller and Austin Theory.
I don't really know. I didn't like that, to be honest.
I mean, me okay, so here's the thing. If we're gonna start pushing at a Grayson Waller and a, Austin Theory potential turn, sure, I could see it all day long. I don't know why you need Obafemi in there. Uh, I I guess that's what confuses me is, like, why haven't we done something just between those 2 to kinda tease at it a little bit more? I just don't know if Obafemi would have been the guy that I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, like, we'll put them in a match with him, and then we'll start the dynamic and stuff like that, and obviously, Oba will win that match."
It's just bringing Grayson Waller and Austin Theory to NXT when I think the focus should be on them being booked in the World Raw Tag Team Championships, title scene or something like that. Like that's what they.
Well, I think the thing is WWE sees the potential of Austin Theory being a face. They're starting to see that.
Okay, so why should that play out on NXT, and why should maybe that happen at Vengeance Day and not WWE Raw?
So I think number one, when you look at the main roster and how stacked it is, whether you like to believe this or not, it is that people just naturally aren't invested into that storyline on the main roster with those two. And you seen last night in Atlanta, and people will argue that it was Austin Theory's hometown, but regardless of the fact, Austin Theory got a really good reaction there. Like
Okay.
a really good reaction.
So I have a little bit of trouble with what your point is, because I don't agree that people don't want to see it, because I feel like anytime WWE has teased it on SmackDown, even months ago when it was like a little bit more lukewarm, of a story, the more WWE kind of teased it, the more people were kind of anticipating and waiting for it. The
Yeah,
crowd reaction was there. So now the thing is, people aren't as interested anymore, but that's because they haven't really been teasing it as much as of late. And then, yes, this past week, obviously now it's being picked up again. There is a lot of potential in Austin Theory being a baby face, and I think the IWC, he's one of the guys that the IWC hate, but Austin Theory is a very, very talented individual. He has always been a very talented individual.
for sure.
Why should NXT be the place where this is happening? This is something that's happened on the main roster. And by the way, we just had, you know, we're looking at it. We're living in a time period right now where WWE Raw, like these guys were part of the transfer portal. On WWE Raw, there's a tag team division. If you're gonna break up this tag team, if you are going to break up this tag team, then you better have some good plans for both of them. The reality is, though, I think at this point, for now, maybe for a couple more months, they kind of stay away from teasing the breakup and keep them together and let them go in the tag team division, and focus on the tag team division. I think the tag team division needs more work on the main roster than Theory and Waller need to be focused on as singles guys. Eventually it comes, but there's gotta be some sort of something, you know?
Yeah, and as much as I wanna sit here and say that that could be what takes place, because I agree with you, right? I don't think it's a bad idea for them to go up and do the tag team stuff and kinda stick it out a little bit and try to help those divisions on SmackDown and Raw. The problem is we're here now, right? This is where we're at. Regardless of what we sit here and debate about, the fact of the matter is something is happening at Vengeance Day. Whether people wanna believe it or not, or they see something in Austin Theory potentially being down on NXT right now and doing and hopefully achieving something good on NXT, right? Regardless of what we sit here and debate about, a turn is coming and Austin Theory is at the forefront of it. Now, what they do with Grayson Waller going forward, I don't know. I think like you just said a moment ago about them both being needing to be book strong. I just don't see that being the case for Grayson Waller because after this, what is his direction? Where does he go? What does he do? Nobody really knows. Austin Theory just looks like the guy right now. And last night, that crowd just kind of, if hearing that crowd was insane.
I don't think it's fair for WWE to listen to the NXT crowd at center stage and use that as a pivotal moment to
But the
say,
thing
"Oh,
is, they're not just listening to the NXT crowd. Again, like you just said a moment ago, this is something that they were doing on the main roster, and they kind of pivoted away for a moment, tried it back out, and then are coming back to it a little bit.
correct. That is correct." But at the same time, too, are you really gonna put them on NXT for this story to play out? You can't be listening to the NXT crowd. You gotta be listening to your main roster crowd.
Now, I will say this, I do think it would have played better out on SmackDown because SmackDown needed a storyline like this for something to be really intriguing over there.
Really, they had the fucking storyline, bro.
I know that.
They
I know
teased
that
it and
the
then they
problem
kinda
is they
backed
went
off
away
of it,
from
and
it.
now
Yeah,
all of
they
a
went away
sudden,
from it.
yeah, so the thing is, I mean, this is where I have to say, like, WWE kinda did a poor job with their split, and the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, like, I fucking hate this thing where in professional wrestling, and honestly, this is a Triple H thing. This is definitely a Triple H thing. Triple H and NXT Black and Gold, it was always these tag teams that break up because they're not fucking friends anymore. It's always like this friend versus friend type shit. It's never it's never a tag team breaking up because they just simply want to go and be a singles guy or whatever. It's like there's always this little drama, then they turn into a fucking story of best friend versus best friend. The thing with Theory and Waller is they've planted the seed so many times, and it's been such a long, drawn, burnt out thing where both guys, like, I think it's going to hurt both guys if they don't capitalize on this. And so here's the thing: if you're gonna do that, You don't do it on NXT. You do it on WWE Raw because of the fact that they just got transferred to Raw, and you need more stories in that mid card. And here's the thing, and we got a couple super chats that we're gonna have to get to as well. But
Yeah.
when I look at Grayson Waller and in theory being in the ring with Obafemi, I think that's a waste of time. I think it's a waste of time. All it's going to be, I mean, Obafemi is going to win, and all it's going to do is either solidify the split between them, or it's going to be the next seed planted between Theory and Waller. And by the way, Theory is the big baby face, Waller is the big heel. Grayson Waller's long-term trajectory, in my opinion, is nothing more than what you got with the Miz the last 5 years. Like, Grayson Waller is very much another version of the Miz. Maybe not as flashy with the suits and stuff, but Grayson Waller's character and persona is kind of the same thing. That's the reason why with the Miz being moved, yeah, like with Miz being on SmackDown, there's no point of having fucking Grayson Waller on there. So to me, the way I look at this is Grayson Waller is always going to be the guy that until they find something for him that really clicks, which they could, because people do like him and he does get heat, but until they find something that really transcends his career, he's going to be a mid-card comedy / shitbag heel who's, maybe he'll get a couple title reigns here and there for the mid-card titles or whatever, and he's a good wrestler and he'll figure it out, but that's going to kind of be his ceiling. And I think with Austin Theory, there's a lot of people out there who believe, hey, this guy could become a world champion at some point. And honestly, as much as I'm a huge fan of Austin Theory, I'm starting to be under the impression that maybe WWE without Vince McMahon, it's just not going to happen, because I don't think Austin Theory is going to take precedence over Karrion Kross or Sami Zayn or Jey Uso or some of these other people we've been talking about.
We say that right now, but 2 years down the line, we don't know if we're going to be saying that. Here's the thing.
For sure.
Is I've seen Austin Theory booked under Triple H before.
Yeah.
Seen it in NXT. I know that he's a fan of Austin Theory. I think he still believes that Austin Theory needs development, right? Because I think we can all agree Austin Theory still needs to develop a little bit. He needs to find out that it factor behind him. We kind of go back to that promo that him and John Cena had at WrestleMania 39 and, telling him like, you don't have it yet. When you think about it, he doesn't. Right now, all he has is the looks behind it, right? But people think that he can be this champion, and I think Triple H sees it too. I think it just needs to play out, and that's why I almost agree with him going back down to NXT. Let him develop a little bit more. Let him find his stick. Let him find that rhythm that he needs to find, because when he does come back up, it's going to be amazing. With Grayson Waller, I'm not going to sit here and say 100% I agree with you. I think that down the line, Grayson Waller, I don't know what it was about him, but something about him always kind of, not to sit here and be like, oh yeah, he reminds me of this person. But he did always remind me a little bit of Randy Orton, if I'm being quite honest. And that's like a really hot take, but I think, again, we're just living right now in the moment. We're so focused on like what's currently happening that we're not paying attention to the lifespan that these guys genuinely have.
Well, for sure. So let's address that, right? And this is a thing about NXT that I've always loved, but this is where the reality is. When NXT 2.0 came out, and it was very clear, we're watching NXT 2.0, and I could go back to my streams, I could go back to my videos, and I've said this a lot. You're looking at your future WrestleMania main eventers before your eyes. It's going to take a long time because you still got the John Cena's in the company, you still got Roman and Cody and all those guys. But there's going to come a time when those guys are no longer at the forefront of the WWE.
They're going to fizzle out.
Yes. So here's the thing: the Austin Theories of the world, the Grayson Wallers, Tony D'Angelo, Obafemi, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, those guys, before they truly main event WrestleManias and have the shows dedicated to them, pretty much, until that happens, that generation of talent steps up, we still have a lot of years to go. And we still have a lot of people who haven't held world champions. So I'm not saying that they're going to be able to skip the line or not skip the line. But what I am saying is that it is a rather difficult task for them at this stage of the game, because it might be too soon that they were on the main roster. And so therefore, that's where you're seeing Triple H have to do these long drawn out storylines, because if you do everything quickly, then you shoot all the everything in the chamber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is a tactic that I used to tell people in sales and just like with negotiating and stuff. if you have one in the chamber, you don't want to shoot it too soon.
Right. Right.
I'm afraid that WWE may have done that already with Austin Theory. I think 100% Vince McMahon ruined Austin Theory. I'm very convinced of that. And I'm not saying you can't rehabilitate things,
Right.
but I don't agree with you that Austin Theory should be sent down to NXT yet again, because that would be like the third or fourth time that's happened. Austin Theory can be a singles guy, and you could put him in the mix with the Intercontinental Championship with guys like Penta and Braun Breaker and whatever. There's a lot of things you can do. And here's the reality. This is the reality that nobody wants to admit, but this is the problem when you have bloated ass rosters. AEW and WWE both have this issue where not everybody could become a champion. So here's the thing. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller should not split because the timing of it is terrible. And the reality is they're going to go fight Oba Femi, and there's going to be another. It's either going to be that they split, somebody walks away from each other, like something will happen. And I'm telling you, it's the wrong thing. You want to talk about the future and the future. Yes, these guys are all part of the future, but what are you going to do in the meantime? You have to keep them relevant, and you have to keep them doing something special on television in order for that to matter. And until they do that, it's going to be really, really, really difficult, because for every time that somebody, like right now, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, perfect example, there's an opportunity here to split them off and let them do a singles run. But now, is that going to come at the expense of Penta, who's getting some momentum? And this is why wrestling fans get mad. And this is why wrestling fans are absolutely unbelievably unhinged on Twitter about this, because they're like, oh, well, the Penta's buried. Like, that's what they'll say. If Penta doesn't get TV time, oh, Penta's buried. But then it's like, who do you prioritize, the new guy or the guys that you had before? And at some point, I think Triple H has to realize that there's certain people where you shouldn't do a singles push. You shouldn't break up the tag team. Like, imagine, for example, when they were teasing potentially DIY breaking up.
And they came back to it.
But here's the thing. DIY stood together. Now they're the tag team champions. But if they had Tommaso Ciampa turn on Johnny Gargano and Johnny didn't turn heel with him, what are you doing? It's not like these guys can have a major singles career at this time, because there's just too many things taking precedence over it. So I have a very, very hard time with that. And truth be told, I think it's just really shitty when you look at professional wrestling. People are going to get screwed. This is one of those situations where NXT doesn't really have a great main event scene. And by the way, Oba Femi's feud is now Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, which their story should be taking place on Raw. NXT doesn't need them. You know, when you take somebody from the main roster to NXT, when you have somebody not being utilized at all. So if there was a guy, for example, Shinsuke Nakamura, he's the U.S. champion right now. But if Shinsuke Nakamura wasn't the U.S. champion and he wasn't on TV, like he wasn't for a very long time, he wasn't on TV. That's when you say, you know what, Shinsuke, we'll put you in NXT. We'll put you in the main event scene because they need some help over there, and you get to be on TV. That's when you do it. Not when you have an existing story that's been happening on for months, and then, by the way, we're going to move you guys to SmackDown or to Raw. Oh, but by the way, we're going to put you on NXT for this program.
I hear you.
So, with that being said, we spent a lot of time on that. And trust me, we're going to be cooking all day, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Joseph Peralta, member for 4 months. He says, dream match, Joe Hendry versus The Weeknd at WrestleMania in 2 years.
The Weeknd?
The Weeknd, I don't see... I don't see The Weeknd ever wrestling, but that's just my opinion. But Joseph Peralta did leave a $5 super chat, and he says, with Paul and Bad Bunny successful, I would love to see WWE sign The Weeknd as a part-time performer after he would have final concert and movie in 25. So here's the thing. I just don't think The Weeknd would ever be a performer.
No.
And I don't think he would be a good performer. And I seen his, I don't know if it was a show or a movie or whatever, but it was on the, what was it called, man? It was on Max. It got canceled after 1 season.
Oh, he had a show?
Yeah, it sucked. It was terrible. He's a terrible actor. Keep him away from professional wrestling, please. He can do the theme music.
He makes very good music.
Yeah, he can do the theme music. Joseph Peralta, I'm going to just be honest with you. Bad Bunny, I don't know. I never knew. Listen, I didn't expect Bad Bunny to be a good wrestler. He was fantastic. Yep. But he was also a very big wrestling fan. And obviously, when you're a big wrestling fan, you're committed to wrestling. Mm-hmm. Logan Paul, wrestling fan, also very athletic, very talented. So I think there's just a little bit of a difference. there. I have no recollection of The Weeknd being a wrestling fan at all, other than the fact that he's done like 10 WrestleMania theme songs in a row. So,
Yep.
but
Man, don't stop.
yeah, exactly. Shout out to Joseph Peralta for the super chat. Tolino Channel dropping another one. I like Eddie Thorpe's ultimate opportunist gimmick. He can sneak into the title picture, but what he lacks is the authority power, like Edge Vicky combo. I like Eddie Thorpe. I like Eddie Thorpe a lot. Eddie Thorpe to me is one of those guys where I could see him as a world champion in NXT. I could see him as a champion on the main roster, whether it's the Intercontinental Championship or US Championship, because Eddie Thorpe is just a very talented, like, in-ring performer.
Yeah.
People, I think, forget that Carl Frederick used to be a stud in New Japan. So now that he's Eddie Thorpe and he has like a different gimmick and stuff, he's very talented. And I think there's a lot of opportunity for him to have bangers on the main roster and NXT and SmackDown. But I'm going to say this, though. I don't think Eddie Thorpe or anybody in NXT has been built up as a credible threat to Obafemi. No matter how much I love the angle or the gimmick, I don't think there has been anything there at all.
Whew.
So,
My
you
bad,
good, buddy?
I was going through it over here. I had to mute myself for a minute.
Oh, you good. You good. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. We got DRecTube, $2. Austin Theory is Randy Orton before Legend Killer. I agree. And that's all Austin Theory actually needs. Austin Theory needs. And it was funny because Billy, you were like, oh, Grayson Waller reminds you of Randy. Nah, bro. nah. I'm telling you, I think Austin Theory reminds me a lot of a young Randy Orton before Legend Killer, and eventually he found what it is.
Yeah,
he found what it was. Randy found what it was, and Randy obviously completely evolved into what he is today, which is a phenomenal Hall of Famer, one of the top guys. And just a little quick story. Some people that I was hanging out with the other week, we were talking about professional wrestling, and they always ask me, they're like, "Oh, like does Randy still wrestle?" And I'm like, how do you even know Randy Orton? They're like, you know what it is? We used to watch back when we were kids, and then we played SmackDown versus Raw, and we played, these games, and that's how people remember. So even when people don't watch wrestling today, there's still things that they remember from the past. And eventually there's going to come a time when Randy's no longer on WWE TV. WWE has to create that next Randy Orton. Austin Theory could be your next Randy Orton if they so choose, but it's a collective effort for sure.
Yeah, not mad at it.
Couple more shout outs. Where we at? Phil, what up, Phil? Member for 7 months, Job Squad. He says, excited for the Rumble. I got Punk and Charlotte. I can't give you guys
not Charlotte.
I can't give you guys my predictions for the men's one, but I pretty much told everybody I'm choosing Jordynne Grace. So we'll have a Royal Rumble prediction show probably tomorrow.
Yep, I'm picking everybody but Charlotte.
I think Charlotte's gonna win. I think they want Charlotte versus Tiffany. All right.
I heard you.
I think it could be a good feud, though.
Good feud or not, I don't want to see it. Not right now. Let her come back. Let her get back infused with things. She doesn't have to be a part of that big match at WrestleMania.
It's Charlotte Flair, bro. Of course she does.
Bro, oh my God.
Why?
Bro, I've seen it so many times.
Yeah, but your idea is to send experienced people back to NXT and...
Hold on.
Yeah.
No.
That's what you're saying.
I said that about one person.
Yeah, that's your ideology.
Oh my... You're gaslighting me now. I'm being gaslit.
I'm just saying.
No, bro. It's that I've seen Charlotte Flair in this position. Let her be in the mid card. They got a new title there. She's got to win that eventually, don't she?
Listen, buddy, let me explain something to you. You want Charlotte in the mid card. Charlotte, listen, the number one thing the women don't have is the final boss, bro. Right? Am I right or wrong? Do they have a final boss on the main roster?
What defines the final boss?
I mean, look at The Rock, bro.
Okay. Yes.
Okay,
Different scenario.
look at The Rock.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, let's look at Roman Reigns. Held it down for 4 years. Cody beating Roman Reigns was a very significant moment. The
Yes.
women's division doesn't have that. Charlotte
Yeah.
Flair is the closest thing that you'll have. She's the biggest and best star that they've ever had in the women's division.
Wait, you're saying Becky Lynch couldn't be that?
I think I have to put Charlotte over Becky.
Why? Why do you have to?
I have to put Charlotte over Becky and Bailey and Sasha and
Rhea exists.
yeah. I have to put her over Rhea.
You know, I'm not saying you're wrong, by the way. I'm just saying I don't want to see it.
Can I tell you why Charlotte makes more sense as the final boss?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because Becky, we've seen her drop the NXT title to, we've seen her drop the NXT title. We've seen her drop the women's championship. We've seen Rhea lose. We've seen Rhea have the belt vacated. Rhea got injured and stuff like that, and obviously so did Charlotte. But I think what ended up happening was we've seen the women kind of flip flop belts a little bit more on the Raw side. And with SmackDown, since the last time we seen Charlotte hold the belt, it wasn't like a flip flop thing. It was a lot in the beginning of her title reigns. You know, she would win it, win it, drop it. But for the most part, she's kind of been built up as the most.
Like I said, I agree with you 100%. I don't think you're wrong for saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just think that there is a different route for her because as much as she is the thing is I genuinely okay, people are gonna come at me for this. I don't if we're gonna talk about a final boss and stuff like that, I don't think there needs to be one. The women are so diverse and they put on great matches, and there's a lot of great and talented women throughout the roster.
Who carries the women's division currently?
Rhea, in my eyes.
Rhea Ripley carries the women's division.
Yeah.
And Rhea's women's division has been mostly it's mostly consisted of what? A love angle.
Yes. Okay. I hear you.
Okay, when Cody beat Roman Reigns, it was a very impactful moment, right?
For sure.
Okay. If somebody beats Rhea Ripley right now or Tiffany Stratton,
it's not as impactful.
Sure. So if you had Charlotte go on a dominant run for 3 years and copy the Roman Reigns method, and then you had somebody like Dakota Kai or Lyra Valkyria or Chelsea Green or somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, you're just throwing out names.
Yes, but you can create the next big baby face female.
That is fair. That is fair.
And that's what they don't have in the women's division, but they have it in the men's division.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying you got to replicate
that. You need that person to have somebody go over.
Now, personally speaking, if there was a person that would prefer other than Charlotte to be built up as this final boss, it would be Bianca.
Yeah, for sure.
Bianca, honestly, like we're not talking the Royal Rumble, but I'm going to talk a lot about Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is a very, very, very solid pick to win the Royal Rumble and to verse Rhea Ripley. However, I want Bianca Belair full on heel turn.
Yeah, because that has to happen at some point.
And what I would really love, I mean, if we're just going to fantasy book for a second, I would love Jade Cargill to be in the Royal Rumble and Bianca tosses her ass out.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And I would love for Bianca Belair to officially switch to Raw and challenge Rhea Ripley.
Okay, that's fair.
If I'm not going to get Jordynne Grace winning the Royal Rumble, that's what I would want, Bianca versus Rhea. But again, if that's the case, if Rhea were to go heel and then they were to give her a year-long reign and or a year or two long reign, which, you know how I feel about long title reigns, they kind of suck. Yeah. But for somebody like Bianca to turn heel and hold the belt for 2 years, man, imagine you could create the next big babyface female star going on a chase for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Literally the same thing as Cody, and people will be like, "Oh, it's the same thing as Cody." Well, yeah, that's what wrestling's built upon. That's what wrestling's built upon. You have your evil champion, and then you have your baby face, and the baby face goes through the climb, and they have adversity, and they face setbacks, and eventually they win it. Look at Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30.
Mm-hmm.
You know. We could talk about these moments in the men's division for years and years and years, but for some reason we never talk about it with the women. So maybe it's Naomi who becomes that next big breakout babyface. I don't know. I'm just saying they need to do something with the women's division. Charlotte, in my opinion, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I just the title is on Tiffany Stratton right now. Charlotte going after Tiffany. There's a lot of intrigue there, but do you stunt the growth of Tiffany, who's kind of been hot shotted to the
That's what I'm
top?
saying. Yeah.
So it's a tricky situation, but that's where you could tell the women don't get as much focus as the men for sure.
Yeah.
Shout out to Phil, by the way, for the membership. There's a couple more super chats that I have to get to. Tolino Channel dropping 200 rupees. If WWE wants Theory as a main eventer, it should start when his music hits. Glass shatters, gong hits. I hear voices. People start to invest. People need a reason to cheer you. I think this is a great time to talk about music and professional wrestling because WWE and AEW and all these companies, they kind of fucking suck at it.
We can have this conversation.
We definitely can.
Me and you can.
For sure.
When it comes to music, Ango and I can have this discussion.
So let's talk about it. What's your thoughts?
I think the music is horrible. It's not what it used to be when we were younger. It's not as exciting as it once was. I think back to a time of like Dave Bautista. I think back to a time of like John Cena, even the Dr. Thugonomics thing. Like the music defined who a person was. It spoke to who that person was. Even this is going to be a shitty reference, but I even think back to like King Booker and that music and how it just defined. It wasn't Booker T, it was King Booker. There was a difference. So I 100% agree. I actually seen something not too long ago about Austin Theory actually, and like him having like a more defined song, something that really describes him. And it's something that just with music in general in WWE, I've been dying for this music to change. You're starting to see it a little bit. Jacob Vatu has a really good theme song. I know a lot of people, some hated it, some didn't, but I was a big fan of the Braun Breaker thing.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at somebody like Solo Sikoa's, like it doesn't, it's not like the end all be all. You know, it's Solo Sikoa though. Like there are certain things. The problem with somebody like Austin Theory right now is they play a song, I don't know who it is.
The only reason I know is because it's if it says A-Town down.
Yeah, that's it.
Every song needs like a little bit of a stinger or a hook, something that just like really defines who the person is. The reason why I don't care about the Royal Rumble anymore is because there's so many people. There's 30 entrants between 60 entrants between two matches, and I know maybe like 10 theme songs. So
well, think back to like Edge's theme song, for instance, at that Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That was a horrible Rumble.
Yeah,
it really was. And you think back to it in that moment with Edge, that's what you remember. Why?
Yeah.
Because the moment you heard that song come on, you popped.
You think you know me.
Yeah.
It went crazy, and then the pyro and everything. You know, it's crazy though, because like, for example, Jordan Grace is not a WWE talent at the time, but when she was in the Royal Rumble, you hear the siren, thick mama pump, everybody kind of has that thing. But she had the Scott Steiner siren thing, and like everybody was like, oh my God, it's Jordan Grace, right? Like people knew it was Jordan Grace. But like, damn well if Piper Niven walks out at the Royal Rumble,
I have no idea. Idea.
So the thing is, in professional wrestling, this is something that has to get better. It's something that's not good at all. It's problematic for sure. But to me, it is a problem because I think like for every wrestler, I mean, look at the Judgment Day. Every week they're getting new music now. DIY has been getting new theme music. WWE really has to figure that out because
dude, the production sucks.
I don't know if they're still doing Def Rebel. I don't know what the case is.
Well, again, you're starting to see a change, but if they are doing Def Rebel, then it's inconsistent.
Yeah,
and that's a problem.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like Roman Reigns' music hits, it's Roman. You hear Cody's music hits, it's Cody. Seth Rollins, Burn It Down. Like everybody knows it's him. Jey Uso, everybody knows it's him. Like there's certain wrestlers who have that, and then there's a lot of people in the mid card and the lower card who don't have that, and that's a very big flaw. Because here's the thing. If you go back and watch the Royal Rumble back in the day, or if you go watch old WWE pay-per-views and you don't know what card you're looking at and you hear some theme music, you can already tell who it is. For example, Tajiri.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yep.
perfect example. Like, you just knew it was him,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know? So there's a lot of and there's a lot of instances in WWE and in today's day and age where a theme song hits and you don't know who it is. I think if you want any talent to really be a big deal, you gotta have something, right?
Can I
Like,
be honest? Can I be honest? This might turn into a little bit of a debate because I'm not sure how you're gonna feel about this.
yeah,
The one thing that is missing in WWE that I see NXT trying to bring back a little bit is that pop punk style.
yeah,
Because no matter what people say, WWE was built around the punk, grungy, gritty style of music. And they kind of lost touch with that. We talked about The Weeknd a little bit ago. As much as I think The Weeknd is a great artist, he's not a WWE great artist. He's not what I envision as a WWE great artist. Now, the difference in what people will argue is like, oh, well, you grew up with that. Kids are going to feel a little bit different. I mean, the kids can feel however they want. This is a hill I'm ready to die on. Because pop punk and just punk in general, rock music was built for WWE and they just lost touch with that.
yeah, I disagree entirely.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's I think you are a little too young to be acting like an old head right now. Uh
Hold
uh,
on. Hold
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on.
Listen. Just listen. WWE was built upon it, right?
For sure.
Okay. When back at that time, would it be fair to say that punk music, rock music, stuff like that was far more
Was
popular?
trendy. It was trendy.
Gotcha. Okay. In 2025,
Gotcha. Okay.
in 2025, it is not
Uh,
trendy. It is not trendy.
hold on. Beg
It's
to
not.
differ. It
I
is.
could tell you it's not, because if you listen to even most rock songs or most rock artists, they are starting to dive in, taking elements of hip hop. Same thing with country music. Same
Or
thing
is
with electronic music. Everything, bro. I hear rock songs and it's got fucking 808s on it. What are you talking about?
bro, don't you think that's hip hop taking from rock?
Brother, everything is leading to hip hop being the evolution of music. The sound, the song structure, the 4x4 time signatures, like everything, the elements of music is starting to take from hip hop. Yes, hip hop has done, there's hip hop artists who do that too, but I'm saying there's a lot of rock bands or a lot of EDM producers who are taking elements of hip hop. So the reason why I say that is because it is far more trendy that hip hop is the thing now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Honestly, I hate it.
Mhm.
I hate this new wave of rap music. I think it's shit.
Yeah.
There's a reason why I've said this countless times. I listen to Albanian music. If I'm driving in the car, I'm listening to either like literally Albanian dance music, like wedding music, or I'm listening to Albanian like rappers doing drill and like Albanian rappers and singers doing like reggaeton / like dance hall shit. And the only reason why is because I feel like all these other artists that are out there, I don't think they're talented. I don't think they're good. I don't, and to me, I don't think they're a good vibe. So at least for me, I listen to, Albanian music. But
For me, I've always I mean, I was hip hop, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
I
Uh,
know that.
yeah, yeah.
I know exactly how you and that's what I'm telling you. When you look at music, I mean, look at country music, bro.
Yeah, yeah, it's evolving.
Country music is literally taking
It's
shit from hip
hip
hop.
hop. Yeah, it's hip hop.
Because that's the thing. Everybody's trying to figure out how to do it. So, the reality is this, bro. It's fucking sad, but like we are living in a time where music is, first of all, it's the least creative space.
Mhm.
Lyrics don't matter anymore. Songs could be about the worst subject matters and it's all fucking cool. And at the end of the day, WWE, like, it's a different company, man.
I can agree with that. You know
And
what
it's
that means?
weird because Triple H was never that kind of guy. Of course, he was fucking.
He was
Look
the
at
metal.
NXT. Black and Gold was fucking built upon just heavy metal type shit.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I get it, but at the end of the day, you got to move with the times. And then look at WWE today. WWE has Travis Scott and Meg Thee Stallion and all these things. It's like, why? Because that's what people listen to.
Mm.
It's crazy, but it's true.
Well, I mean, Ango, I'll be honest with you. They they can go listen to a song called Lost. They might change their mind.
Oh yeah. No plugs, no plugs.
No plugs.
Shout out to Tolino Channel for that super chat. We got another one from David Primero. $4.99. He says Asuka was the OG final boss until they ruined her and had her lose to Charlotte. Look how she was undefeated in NXT and how everyone was scared of her.
Okay.
But who ruined her? Who
Vince-
ruined her?
Vince.
Yeah.
Vince ruined that. Man, Vince ruined that horribly.
It's the truth.
I mean, when you look back at just her NXT run, I remember how insane it was. Her NXT run was massive. I remember people comparing her to Goldberg and things of that nature. and here we are today, and people forget that was a thing.
Mm.
And that's a shame.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a shame. Asuka's booking was so good in NXT. Fucking what a time that was, bro. Hopefully she's back by the Royal Rumble.
Hope so.
I want to see her back in the Royal Rumble. She was the OG final boss, but yeah, Vince McMahon ruined her. I definitely agree with that.
Mhm.
It was a big deal. She came to the main roster, and yeah, I think I don't want to say ruined like she was buried or something, but
No,
my
because
God.
she still ended up having a good run.
Yeah, you know. But she was not she was a good example of somebody who came from NXT, booked a certain way, went to the main roster, and Vince had a different idea.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
Mhm.
and that's unfortunate.
For sure, it is. But yeah, no, that I can see that 100% being the case here. You know, if it sucks that they ruined her, but here we are. You know,
I wonder what they're gonna do with Asuka. I wonder if they're gonna have her still with Damage Control.
they can't.
You don't think so?
No. You got to go let her out on her own. You kind of can almost. You just got to repackage her a little bit. You know what I mean? She needs a repackage.
I feel like they've never really fully repackaged her. You
No.
know, last year they kind of did the thing where she had her face paint that was inspired by the stuff that she did in Japan. But
Mhm.
you know, like Shinsuke kind of came back with like a really dark gimmick.
Well, that's kind of
And
what I was gonna say. Is you can almost kind of do that same thing with her.
just a complete overhaul of her character.
Yeah, why not?
Something dark and cryptic, maybe.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, if there's anybody who would excel with it, is Asuka.
Exactly.
It could be really cool, honestly. Like I can imagine like if Asuka were to come back and go heel and leave
Mhm.
Damage Control or something, because Damage Control is kind of like fizzled out a little bit.
Yeah, it's played out now.
Yeah. Interesting. Shout out to David Primero for the $4.99. Reels and Heels dropped a $5 super chat. Io Sky is winning the women's rumble, and I feel that Charlotte will enter our program with Jordan Grace. That would be fun. I wouldn't complain about that. If Io Sky were to win the Royal Rumble, I think that would be really cool. Io Sky is such a tremendous talent, and I would be down for it. I think the women's Royal Rumble is you know, it's a lot harder to actually I think both of them are a lot harder to predict, but I just think it's a layup for them to have Charlotte beat all the women in the Royal Rumble and then go for Tiffany. I think that's just like they can do that, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not opposed to Io Sky winning. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That's not who I have winning, but I wouldn't mind that.
Is there somebody that you have right now that like if they won the Royal Rumble, you would be pissed?
Right now,
Yeah.
See, I think that's the kind of weird thing with the women's division is like when I think about it, no, I don't think there is somebody that would genuinely like make me mad. You know what I mean? I think going back to my argument a little bit though earlier is I rather not see Charlotte win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just me speaking.
It's interesting. Shout out to Reels and Heels for the super chat. Tolino Channel dropping another one, 200 Indian rupees. Women's tag division is failing because these are short-lived teams. What we want are teams that are proud of being a tag team and fight to become the greats, like the Dudleys, Hardys, and Road Warriors. Yeah, I mean, look at NXT last night with the women's tag team championship match. It's not natively, there's not real tag teams in the women's division. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the truth. There's not
Yeah.
a lot of tag teams natively.
Nope.
You know, I'm gonna say it again. And I love Lash Legend and I love Jakara Jackson and stuff. I'm gonna say it again. Just get rid of the women's tag team championships.
Please just get rid of them. Please just get rid of them.
It's hard. I mean, look, if they brought in the Tonga twins from
I was just
wrestling,
that's so funny. I was just watching a video on them a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, like if they brought them in, okay, that's a native tag team because they're twins, you know. But
still, it does not even matter at this point. It just feels like WWE cannot book the women's tag division. It doesn't even feel like a division. It just feels like a bunch of shit piled together.
Yeah.
And then you call it a division.
Exactly. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tolino Channel. Just wanted to throw this up there because a lot of people didn't know this. Wait, is Angle Albanian? Yes, sir.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I don't know how people don't know that. I like literally blast it all the time.
I was about to say it's kind of hard to miss.
Yeah, bro. I take pride in who I am, baby.
Good.
I was just looking at something in the channel, the chat from Twitch. Shout out to Bill Ace Spades. Women's tag team is a Jinx title. I see the spelling error. That's okay. But yes, it is. I mean, it is. There have been plenty of people who have won the belts and then there's injuries or there's something. And then it's been that way since literally day one.
It always jinxes somebody.
Yeah, it's there's always something with it.
They try to do something with them and then nothing happens.
I will say
injury or something.
I will say Triple H has done a way better job with those women's tag titles than
Vince ever could have.
For sure.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the people watching on Twitch, man.
Yeah, shout out to y'all on Twitch. Appreciate y'all. Now would be a good time to just take a quick little commercial break, actually.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back and talk about some more stuff. If you guys have any super chats or anything, get those in. We'll come back from a quick commercial break. Yeah. And we are back.
Boom.
Boom, 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 boom.
We're back and we're ready to roll.
Yes, we are. So, Billy,
Ango,
what's up, buddy?
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, pal. Man.
Justin Kennington dropped a super chat, so let's
kick things off.
kick things off with that super chat. Let's see.
Are we cooking today, chat? I feel like we're cooking.
Yeah, we cooking. We always cooking.
Come on.
Justin Kennington dropped $1.99 super chat. Let's give a round of applause to Justin Kennington pulling through. He says, Final Four men's Royal Rumble, Seth, Drew, Roman, and Punk. Ooh, that would be good. But I can't tell you what I think.
Because I'm going to tell you tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
Justin, tune in tomorrow, man. We're going to be here.
We're going to talk Royal Rumble predictions. I like your Final Four.
I'm not mad at that. I don't either.
Really, yeah. I have a very interesting.
So do I. I have a delicate take.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm excited about that though, because I think with the Final Four, it's going to be very telling.
Yep.
But I do think they have a significant plan.
They have a drawn out map.
And I like this idea.
I don't hate that idea.
Yeah. I just
don't think that's it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I like it. I like it. I think it would be really good.
Yeah, bro, it's fire. It's on the surface. That's a fire take.
Well, when everybody hears my predictions tomorrow, or maybe we'll do the predictions Friday. We'll see. It's either going to be tomorrow or Friday. But I will say this. I will say that between Drew, Roman, and Punk and Seth, that would be a very fun Final Four. But I think I have an idea of what it's actually going to be, and it's just like my own personal take.
Yeah.
So I look forward to talking about that. But shout out to Justin Kennington for the super chat. Definitely nothing wrong with that, buddy. Nothing wrong with that. I think that's a very exciting one. I think people might like my idea though, my prediction. So
I'm not gonna like it.
It's okay. We'll debate.
Yeah, we will.
Shout out to Justin Kennington for the super chat. Kevin Schiffman dropping a $5 super chat. The theme song makes the wrestler, and the wrestler doesn't make the theme song. Exactly.
Boom. Yep.
I think that is perfectly well said, and I think people often forget that. And I think one thing too about the theme music that really has become such a big deal. Look at all the iconic theme songs. I don't like Hulk Hogan, but his theme song was always iconic. The Rock, CM Punk, right? Like John Cena, like you just knew. Bro, it's so funny because even people who don't watch wrestling know John Cena's theme song. So there's just certain theme songs out there that like they just resonate with people. They've heard it before. Sure. It's catchy.
Randy Orton's was always one. Both of his.
Mark Henry.
Yep. There were numerous wrestlers that you can think of.
Undertaker,
that were just significant with the person.
Yeah. It's and one thing too is wrestling has gone far away from that. It's not just a WWE issue, it's an AEW issue. And the thing is, like, I've said this so many times, like Mikey Ruckus does the music for AEW and he's fantastic.
Mikey Ruckus is great.
He's awesome, but there's just like certain theme songs, I don't know what it is. It's just like certain wrestlers have it and just certain wrestlers don't, and it just needs to be applied to everybody.
That's right.
That's right. That's really what it comes down to. Shout out to Kevin Schiffman for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Tolino Channel coming through again with another super chat. Imagine Sammy tries to clothesline Drew out of the ring, but Drew moves and hits Seth and gets eliminated, and Drew needs a Maven shock treatment and look. Stay tuned for the Royal Rumble predictions, guys.
We're going to talk about it.
There will be a Maven shock moment.
For sure. They want to recreate that.
But it's not going to be Sammy.
Nope.
It's not going to be Jay. It's not going to be any of the people you think.
Nope. I know who it's going to be. I think I know who it's going to be.
Oh, who do you think it's going to be?
I can't talk.
Talk about it. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Carmelo Hayes, man.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah, I think Carmelo's going to set up his next big program at the Royal Rumble.
Yep, I agree. I agree, and
But
especially with somebody moving over to SmackDown.
yeah, I'm not gonna say who I think he eliminates, but I do.
Yeah,
I actually think if it's not Carmelo, it should be Apollo Crews. But
yeah, I could see that all day.
very fun. I can't wait for the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble is gonna be fun to predict, and
Mhm.
do our predictions a little bit differently, guys, because I have something set up for it, so you guys will be able to. We're gonna predict who comes in where and who gets eliminated and everything. It's gonna be pretty in depth, so it's gonna be a very fun Royal Rumble prediction show. Um,
I'm
definitely.
pumped.
Definitely stay tuned for that. Shout out to Tolino channel for the super chat. Just a quick comment. Um, we got to show some love on Twitch. So, Bill Ace of Spades comes in. He says men's final four: Cena, Jay, and Jimmy, and CM Punk. Not my final four,
Not mine either.
but I do like the idea of Jay and Jimmy kind of being in the final four, just
Yeah, for
because
sure.
obviously they're brothers. You have to see where they stand. That could be
Mhm.
kind of fun.
I don't think that'll be the case though, but
I don't, but I think it would be fun because they've kind of aligned with each other, being baby faces again. And
yeah,
stuff, but
and then making them kind of go back at it a little bit. I could see it.
yeah. And then also Floyd just showing some love. He says you got to do an AEW review. It'll be the grits on the butter. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. The AEW card tonight looks like shit, and I think AEW is shit. And I don't know if I really have interest in reviewing it. So we'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out for sure. Phil says Rumble is my favorite, besides Mania, of course. Yeah, I think Royal
Yeah.
Rumble. And that's the thing, like with NXT, they don't have a Royal Rumble, so obviously there's an opportunity for a couple NXT people to show up in the Royal Rumble, which makes it kind of fun. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure.
Absolutely.
A couple things. Last night on NXT, the show ends. The copyright thing hits, and then we get this transmitter interruption that says NXT Vengeance Day. So they are teasing something for Vengeance Day. It looks like they're teasing a debut or a return. Maybe it's a main roster star who comes.
Maybe
it's a new signing.
TNA star.
Maybe it's a TNA star. Maybe it's Sami Callihan, because Sami Callihan back in the NXT days was a hacker. Obviously something is happening, but NXT ended the show in such a hot way to get people talking. So shout out to NXT for figuring that out.
Yep.
With this TNA partnership, you never know who it's going to be.
I have my own thoughts.
What are you thinking?
Matt Hardy and Jeff.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you listen to that typing, when you listen to that, really play back to a certain person who was Matt Hardy, and you go back to version 1 Matt Hardy and just listen to the way that typing was.
Oh.
I definitely think it's going to be Jeff and Matt.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, come on.
Let's talk about it. So obviously, give me a second. There we go. So obviously we get the transmission at the end of NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Your response to that is you think it's Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's Jeff Hardy.
Yep.
Obviously the typing kind of brings you to version 1 Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
NXT Vengeance Day takes place on February 15th.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
You really think the Hardys are going to cross over?
For sure. For sure. They've already been teasing it.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about it in interviews and stuff, but...
Yeah. I think you're going to see them in Fraxium.
Have the Hardys ever been on NXT? I don't think so.
No, and they never won those titles.
Huh. Yeah, initially when I saw it, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's Sami Callihan.
Mm-hmm. Just go back and listen to that typing.
I know, but then part of me was also thinking, because I'm thinking of a hacker gimmick or somebody who has had an established hacker gimmick. Mm-hmm. So the two people that came to my mind was Sami Callihan, because that was his thing when he was in NXT back in the day. And then, of course, Mustafa Ali because of Retribution. So low key, I'm not going to lie, though. I wouldn't mind watching both of those guys cross over into NXT, but now you're saying Matt Hardy version 1. kind of gave you that little tease, that little thought, and
Mhm.
to be honest, I kind of like that idea. I don't know. Yes, you could do the Hardys and Fraxium for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
I mean, Fraxium's been holding it down as the tag team.
They have. And we've
I
already seen them cross over to TNA.
We have. I think arguably Fraxium was tag team of the year, and they were the ones who were consistently booked in a story, consistently having great tag team matches more than any other tag team in professional wrestling across WWE, all of WWE programming and AEW. Um, which is interesting because the origin story of Fraxium is so unique. And they've done that whole thing of where like they tease that they have some problems, but then they figure it out and I don't know. I swear I'm not gonna lie. I want to see Fraxium stay together and move to the main roster.
Of course.
If the
And I think
Hardys
they
come
will.
in, but here's what would be pretty cool if the Hardys cross the line and they go to NXT Vengeance Day and they build a program with Fraxium.
Mhm.
Well, I mean that's February 15th, so I think we technically have 2 more episodes of NXT, right? We
Yep,
have
yep, before then.
no, yeah, the 4th and the 11th.
Mhm.
So what that tells me do you think they're teasing the debut for Vengeance Day, or do you think they would do it maybe next week and then they challenge for Vengeance Day, tag champions versus champions, winner takes all?
No, I think they do it at Vengeance Day, and then they do it at Stand and Deliver.
Oh, so the Hardys working WrestleMania
Mania
weekend
weekend.
representing TNA. Listen, let's talk about this for a second. If that's the case, and I think I want to be very, very clear here. I want Fraxium versus the Hardys in a freaking ladder match.
Yep,
Stand and deliver.
that's what it has to be. Them working Mania weekend, they announced this partnership. How do you get familiar your NXT crowd? How do you get them familiar with Fraxium? You put them with the Hardys. You put on that match. It's a banger. It's WrestleMania weekend. You know people are going to be there. That is a good look for not only WWE, but that is also a good look for TNA.
You would have the Hardys beat Fraxium?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
See, I'm not gonna lie. That's why I asked you earlier. I was like, "Hey, have the Hardys been on NXT?" Because I can't remember a time where they were, and even when they were in WWE, I don't remember them making a stop in NXT. For
Mhm.
some reason, I thought Matt Hardy did, but maybe he didn't. Maybe I'm tripping.
No, no.
But here's the thing: if Fraxium, I don't want to see Fraxium break up. They are such a good tag team. The tag team divisions
Yeah,
on Raw and
do
SmackDown.
not break them up. Do not
Yeah,
break them up.
I would keep them together. Honestly, I think it would be far more advantageous for them to drop the belts to the
Yeah,
Hardys.
I'm not saying I'd be against it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying if you wanna make them look strong and you wanna make Fraxium look strong, right? You allow Fraxium to keep the titles, but if you do wanna call them up and you want them to go work the main roster, because obviously we know that those are 2 guys that eventually you could help that main roster tag division and stuff. Those are
Yeah.
2 guys that could really help it, especially on Raw, who needs the help right now.
Yeah.
They could go up there and do that, and you can kinda have the Hardys just kinda work some younger guys.
Which is so advantageous, like OTM, for
Oh,
example.
that's exactly who I was gonna say.
Yeah, like
They
OTM and then
look at what they were doing with Private Party. Matt Hardy was doing with
yeah.
Private Party back in AEW. You could do that same thing and really tell a story in NXT with OTM and the Hardys.
There's a lot of opportunity there. I gotta say, I gotta be completely honest with you. If I'm fantasy booking this, I'm for sure having the Hardys win. Stand
Yeah,
and deliver, ladder match, Axiom drops the belts. Axiom moves up to the main roster, starts giving us bangers with War
War
Raiders and
Raiders. Yep.
yeah, for sure. But then the NXT tag team division, they have to figure out who's going to take the belts off the Hardys because I don't want to see the Hardys hold the belts forever.
No, because
But
they can't. They can't.
yeah, they can't. But it would be really cool. Like even Wes Lee, he has these 2 guys, and I know one of them's Tyreek, and I forget the other one's name, which bothers
Yeah,
me.
I've seen them
But I
too.
like these guys. These are heavy hitters, like these guys are big guys. It would be kind of cool for them and OTM to be, out there. You have Gallus still in NXT. Obviously you can't forget about Stacks and Crucifino.
Yep.
And so like that's an opportunity there. Shit,
You
dude.
just gotta let them build the tag division a little bit more, and obviously they will. You know what I mean?
The thing about
There's gonna be somebody to take the belt off them.
yeah, but that's the cool thing about tag team wrestling in NXT is like right now they could throw any two random people from the performance center together
Yeah,
and
and just
like
call it a tag team.
for example, Hank and Tank are a great example of they may not be the most experienced or the best wrestlers, but they come out and they get a pretty good reaction and they kind of have like this old school like fun little gimmick.
For sure.
I'm not saying for them to be tag team champions or anything just yet, but I'm saying like you could start building your tag team division a little bit better in NXT once Fraxium's gone.
Mhm.
And having the Hardys kind of have, like I said, I don't want them to have too long of a reign, but they can work with some of these younger guys and help them a little bit.
Let them
And
work there
then
till SummerSlam, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Till SummerSlam weekend.
and it would be cool if they do winner takes all because if Fraxium, if the Hardys are showing up with the TNA tag titles and the NXT tag titles, that'd be really dope. And honestly, it makes sense for people to try to cross over into TNA to
For
try
sure.
and win back the NXT tag
For
titles.
sure, like
You
the
know,
Rascals or something like that.
yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I love this personally speaking. I love this idea. I was not Oh, what a great what a great stream today because this got me thinking of like the Hardys have kind of they've pretty much held every tag title belt. And
They
Matt
have.
and Jeff, they post these pictures of them carrying like every tag title belt.
They
So,
posted a picture of them with Fraxium.
yeah, so dude, give me it. Give me that match.
I'm cool
That's
with it.
good.
I'm cool with it. I'm here for it.
Amazing. That is honestly amazing. Ah, fuck. Dude,
Yeah, man.
that is so good. That is so good. I love that idea.
So do I.
Um There was a couple more shout outs that I
Mhm.
had to get to, so let me find them. Paul David Elliott, he says, "Oh, member for 11 months, so shout out to you." Um, Paul says, "Hey guys, who wins Super Bowl 59, Chiefs or Eagles, and what is the betting line?" Wow, interesting.
Why are we asking that question?
Answer it, Billy.
No. You wanna know who's winning? Nobody.
The
I ain't
fans lose for sure.
the fans lost
Yeah,
because you wanna know who it was supposed to be?
the Lions.
The Detroit Lions.
Yeah, ain't that some shit, huh?
I'm so hurt. Oh my god, I still think about this every day.
The
I
Lions dropped the ball, my boy.
I hate Ben Johnson. I'm a hater.
He went to Chicago.
Mm. Yeah, he went to Chicago.
We got a little bit of breaking news.
Oh, okay, bring it on.
So let's talk about this. Guys, we're almost we got to talk about this. This is a big one. So give me a second. Um
Just to while you're doing that, Phil, I wanted the Lions and the Bills too. That I would have advocated for that. And Paul, to answer your question, anybody but the Chiefs. So let Saquon get one.
nah, I don't like both teams.
I don't either. I dislike them both.
I
But
hate both teams.
I'd like to see. I like Saquon Barkley, so I'll root for the Eagles under that.
It's gonna suck having to go to a Super Bowl party knowing that both teams you freaking just hate.
Bro, oh my god. They dropped the logo though, and if we're going off the logo thing,
Yeah.
like it's Honolulu blue, baby. Lions are we're coming. We want it.
No.
Stop. No.
It's
Yes.
over for us, buddy.
Bro, no, it's not. I'm gonna post this stream one day, and I'm gonna clip this when they're in the Super Bowl. The fact that you just said that is crazy. It is not over for us.
It's over for us.
Okay, I hear you, but I don't at the same time. Listening to white noise.
Yeah, it's over for us. The Lions are gone. It's donezo. God bless. Good luck.
You're such a hater, bro.
I'm 30 years old. I've lived long enough to see the Lions just always.
Bro, me too.
Sucks.
Oh my god. I watched the 0-16 season.
Isn't it sad?
Ben Johnson threw that game.
Shout out to the Pistons though, because the Pistons are going to
Hey,
make the playoffs.
Cade Cunningham is balling, looking like an all-star.
Yeah, you know who else is balling?
Who?
Tessa Blanchard. We got some breaking news.
Bring it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Prolific, aka Dr. Chris Featherstone from Sportskeeda, he's been killing it with reports lately. He just dropped some news, and this is really, really interesting because Tessa Blanchard has obviously been somebody who has been controversial in the IWC, in the world of professional wrestling. Dr. Chris Featherstone came out with a tweet, and he says, "I was just informed that Tessa Blanchard had many problems in CMLL and yelled at a few girls in the locker room, which led to meetings with the whole women's roster and the boss because of all the drama." Now, this is pretty interesting breaking news, and it's at a very pivotal time because a lot of the reception towards Tessa Blanchard coming, obviously coming to TNA, and obviously there's a lot of people in TNA who have not really been happy with her joining TNA. Then she's coming out talking about how you never know, it's a possibility that she could be on Raw and Netflix because of the partnership and maybe having a match with Rhea Ripley and stuff. And a lot of people have kind of been offended by those comments because they're like, hey, listen, like WWE didn't bring you in. They're not going to bring you in. There's a lot of drama associated with you. Also, the partnership is between NXT and WWE. The likelihood of using Tessa Blanchard as that, I don't know. Listen, obviously this is gossip. This is wrestling gossip. Wrestling gossip isn't good. But in situations like this, you have to wonder a couple things. One, will this deter WWE from bringing in Tessa Blanchard into NXT at some point? And two, you have to wonder what TNA is going to do with Tessa Blanchard because she's coming to TNA. The video leaks of Jordynne Grace, her last day at Genesis. And in that video, you see Jordynne Grace being met with a lot of love and support from everybody. And she's giving people hugs, and she didn't give one to Tessa Blanchard. She just walked past Tessa Blanchard and gave a group hug to everybody. So obviously, the Tessa Blanchard situation, it continues to be something that's unfolding, but now there's news of her being problematic in CMLL. That wasn't something that was reported before. So you just kind of have to wonder what this means. Billy, what's your reaction to Tessa Blanchard? Where do you kind of stand with this whole situation? What do you think TNA should do? Do you think WWE will use her? What are you thinking?
So we talked about this kind of after the match that she had recently. Tessa Blanchard could do anything under the sun. And you had said like, oh, she should have she should have talked and apologized and things like that. That was never going to save her. And this just proves that my point stands. Nothing currently can save her. She's just involved in way too much drama. Too many bad things surround her name. And when too many bad things surround your name, it's never a good look for you as an individual. It will forever haunt you too, no matter what you do, unless you fully rehabilitate yourself, right? And that's what Tessa Blanchard needed to do. She needed to come in, wipe the slate clean. Yes, people were going to have problems with her. Yes, people were going to feel some type of way, but you have to maneuver in a business mindset, and you have to maneuver like a brand new person. That's obviously why TNA brought her back in, hopefully, potentially thinking that that's maybe what she was going to be. Sadly, that's not the case here. We hear about things in CMLL of all places, right? What are you doing in CMLL? What problems do you possibly have there? Why do you have problems there? Grow up, get it together, be better, right? These are things that you have to do as number one, a pro wrestler is a business, right? They're an individual business. Each individual person is a business, and you need to run it just like that. She's not. Not only that, just be a good human. What's hard about being a good human? Is that difficult anymore? Apparently, that's like a lost art to some people. But to answer your question about her coming in and making her way into NXT, no, I do not believe. I actually talked about it over on my TikTok. Again, guys, follow me, Billy TKO. Regardless of the fact, I do not believe WWE is going to even want to place her or even have her associated with any of her product, let alone a product that is currently being built in a really good light like NXT. And I'll be damned if she thinks they're going to use him on Monday Night Raw. It's not going to happen. There's not a shot.
Yeah.
TNA, I hate to break it to you. Alberto Del Rio is a beautiful example. I even hate to use his name. You get rid of him, toss him, get him out. You got to. Somebody can be great. You can be amazing on a microphone. You could be amazing in ring. You could be amazing backstage. If you are a shit person, none of that matters. Just be a good human. That's all I got.
Let me just get some clarification from you because you just brought up Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah.
You are aware that he hasn't been in TNA in like forever, right?
I'm just talking about in general and just wiping that clean.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not
Right.
saying like, oh, yeah, I do know that.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just making sure. Like you. Okay. Because that was confusing for me for a second.
No,
But,
I'm just talking about like how
yeah.
WWE dropped them, got rid of them.
Yeah.
In that light.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, Tessa is so talented, man. And I just feel like the drama follows her. So it's like, fuck, dude. Like at some point, like you gotta, I mean, you're right. It's like an individual business and your reputation and everything matters. And
Mhm.
you're kind of in a situation where people aren't necessarily happy, you know, and
Mhm. Yeah.
I think too, the big thing about her situation was that a lot of people were hoping that she would just apologize and like,
Yeah, because it could have just been that simple.
yeah.
It really could have. But here we
Interesting.
are, and here I am yelling at a camera.
Yeah. Interesting stuff there, man. We'll see how TNA responds. I for one don't think WWE will use her.
I don't think WWE touches her.
I don't think so. I think if they do, then the I don't know. Personally speaking, I don't think they will though.
No, I don't either.
We did get a super chat from Justin Kennington again, $1.99. He says the North versus Hardys versus Fraxium ladder match at Stand and Deliver. The North, you know, we'll see what happens. Josh Alexander coming to NXT and being a tag team with Ethan Page again would be a phenomenal reunion.
For sure.
I do think both of those guys should be solo, but I wouldn't mind watching them as a tag team.
I think later on down the line you could do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see that. I'm okay with just Fraxium versus
the Hardys.
The Hardys, yeah. I don't think we need to see a multi tag team match, but maybe they will because it alleviates some of the bumps and stuff, you know.
Yep.
Excuse me. Shout out to Justin Kennington for the $1.99. Tolino channel dropping 100 rupees. WWE buying TNA news stemmed from the fact that WWE international TV deals are vacant. India has a huge wrestling fan base, and TNA can benefit from these. Yeah, from my understanding, TNA already has a deal there, which is it may be locked in, which is why they won't be able to change it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously for WWE, you know, it makes sense. You help build TNA up, and then from there, you hurt AEW's chances from getting better TV deals internationally. I mean, we'll see. As far as TNA buying WWE buying TNA, they can't even do that. There's stuff in the contract with Endeavor, TKO. It's just not going to be possible just yet. But I think for WWE and their partnership with TNA, just keep giving us the good stuff and everything will be fine. Yep. I don't think TNA is going to try to sell. I don't think Anthem is going to try to sell TNA.
Nope, I don't either.
And I think for WWE, it's actually just really difficult to do so. You know, you got to remember the lawsuit with MLW, and there was a settlement there. And WWE, you know, the big thing is being a monopoly can be really hurtful to them. So obviously for WWE, the way you go about it is, hey, we're going to partner with companies, and then we're going to stunt the growth of the second largest company, which makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot of people who are pissed off about that, and a lot of wrestling fans are angry about that, and a lot of wrestling fans hate that. WWE is a competitive conglomerate, but guess what? At the end of the day, that's what it is. Business is business, and business is always about crushing your competition, no matter what anybody else says. When you have money in a business that you are investing in, you don't want anybody to stunt your growth or to hurt your growth. So for WWE, you're at the top. You've got a lot of people at the bottom trying to get up there, and the best thing you could do is try to limit their growth. We can talk, you know, for me as a fan, I care about the health of the wrestling industry. For WWE, they care more about their business.
Yep.
So to WWE, they are the wrestling industry, and that's why WWE partners with TNA. And I think, obviously, if they can put a ceiling on AEW's potential, they will. Yeah. Shout out to Tolino channel for the super chat. Guys, we hit our super chat goal a long time ago. So shout out to everybody. Kevin Schiffman, Tolino channel, There's been so many. So shout out to everybody who's come through today. Last night's NXT was solid. Couple things that need to be worked on. Matches were good.
Mhm.
You know, obviously, we'll see what happens. You know, going into Vengeance Day, obviously they have that tease and you know, things that I've been complaining about with NXT every single week, it still hasn't changed. And I think I made that pretty clear today. The
Yep.
women continue to rule. Fallon Henley, Shotzi, and just the
They're
mid
doing
card
their thing.
there.
Yep.
Exactly. There's just a lot of good stuff there. So,
Stephanie Vakir.
oh man, she's amazing.
She is.
Amazing. With that being said, guys, we're at an hour and a half. Appreciate you all stopping by. We'll be back tomorrow. Then we'll be live Friday as well. So 12 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for those who have renewed their memberships and super chats. Shout out to everybody who was in the chat going off today. Great show. Appreciate y'all here. And we will see you guys next time.